What's up, guys? We're live. It's Keith Kalfas with the Untrapped Podcast, and I'm so glad that you're here. Guess who I'm glad is here? It's Jeff Michaels from Pondering Waters, right here in Michigan. Bro, my friend right in my backyard. He installs luxury outdoor ponds, like koi fish, the whole beautiful stuff. Everything from pond cleanouts to like monster pond jobs. Like if you want a beautiful pond, straight up dugout in your backyard, and this does cost anywhere from like, he'll tell you all that stuff, tens of thousands of dollars, and have beautiful fish and crazy shit going on with lily pads and all that. Like people love this stuff, and it's the highest profit thing. That's why I'm labeling this podcast in landscaping is this. And he does it. And I met him in must have been like 2016. We were doing a landscape job next door to it. Just happened to be his house. And I met him and I stuck a camera in his face. I'm like, can I videotape you? He's like, oh, okay.
So nervous. Never had a camera in my face before.
Really?
Never.
And now you got your YouTube channel.
Exactly.
Which is Pondering Waters on YouTube. What's the handle?
At Pondering Waters.
At Pondering Waters. Bro, I love it. And I made this whole video, and then I found out he was part of Aquascape, which is like a whole nother story. But this is an entire industry. So we're going to get into it and talk about how you can make high profits in ponds and water features. It's an entire career. And also a little bit of the dark side, how it's not as easy as it seems on the outside, because like cutting lawns, you just cut lawns, boom, 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 boom. And this is a much more creative, artistic side of things, bro. You've flown around the country to install crazy stuff.
I was probably in 9 different states over the past couple of years.
9 states, like doing what?
What we actually do is we get hired by friends of ours, so other pond companies that we hire each other out to do larger projects, because it's those larger projects. If you don't have a good team around you, things can go bad really quick. So yeah, we just help each other out on large scale projects, and it just makes the project go really smoothly.
So wait a second, like as part of like the design, the labor, the install, like what parts like would make it worth it to travel?
The money. Oh. The money is the biggest thing. That, and you get to go on different unique projects. Like I've never done a zoo project before. And I think it was 2 years ago, I was invited by my friend Chris Yax from Aquascapes in Michiana to go help do the giraffe exhibit. So it was cool.
Giraffe exhibit. Can you kind of succinctly verbally describe what type of pond water feature install you would do at a zoo?
Basically, how they had this exhibit set up, they wanted interactive. So you actually walk up a staircase up to the platforms where you can actually hand feed these giraffes. I mean, it's cool. So as you're walking up the staircase, you're walking alongside a meandering stream and waterfall. And at the very bottom was a big pond.
So it's an entire stream and water. How big is this thing? How many steps would you count? Like describe this, and what type of machinery, and how much would it cost to do something like this?
I can't remember exactly what the cost is because it wasn't my job. But if I had to guess, it was probably around the 250 mark.
250 grand.
250 grand
to install a pond. So what type of machinery? How big are the boulders and rocks and pond liner? And was there any fish? All that? Yeah,
we didn't have fish then. I don't even think there's fish now, but we had 2 large excavators, 2 bobcats. These boulders were anywhere between 3 to 4 foot in size. For the actual pond, the stream were about 16 to 24 inches. But we had a few drops. Which was really cool about this project is Chris did a good job on designing it. So we had to filter this thing. So we actually made a wetland filtration system and basically shrunk it down and built on top of it so it looked like a stream. So you actually didn't know that it was a wetland filter because of how he designed it and how he built it. So it's a very, very unique project. And it was fun because we all worked together a lot. So anytime you get a group of friends together building a really unique project, you get a little crazy, but the project turns out phenomenal and you have a lot of fun. Like, for example, I ordered giraffe masks.
This is Untrapped with Keith Kalfas. Hey, if you're looking for what is probably the greatest software ever to run your business on, go to getjobber.com/Keith. You can create proposals, invoices, collect payments, even track your entire business directly on the Jobber smartphone app. And if you want to get a totally free trial of Jobber right now, open your browser, type in getjobber.com/Keith. And if after the trial you decide you want to sign up with Keith's link, you'll automatically get 20% off your first 6 months. So what are you waiting for? Go to getjobber.com/Keith. This is Untrapped with Keith Kalfas.
So anytime there was kids coming by, we'd actually put our masks on and we'd start to work it because it was a giraffe exhibit. It was kind of interactive and it was cool. It was fun. And the kids look and they stare and they laugh. And then we put googly eyes on the excavator and it was a blast. It was fun.
So was there any fish in this pond?
I believe there is some now. I don't know what kind it is because I haven't talked to Chris about if they put fish in there yet or not. But yeah, it is a fish pond.
I love it. Now, to talk about Chris's business or his,
Yeah.
but just in general, what are like the profit margins that somebody can see versus like general property maintenance or trimming people's bushes, installing mulch, cutting grass? How does that framework work to shoot for?
On let's talk smaller scale. I try to focus on a 50% profit margin. That's my profit margin. Larger scale, you can try to get that 50%, but it's really tricky because one thing goes wrong on a large scale project, there goes your profit margin. So you really got to have a lot of ducks in a row to make that profit margin good. So you got to be careful on the larger scale projects.
Okay. And I won't be interrupting you all the time, but when I feel a point that's drastic, a good question. So if you were set up to do bigger jobs, and that's a lot of like the higher percentage of what you're doing is big jobs, then can you iron out that and get the consistent 50% profit margin if that's mainly just what you're doing?
Correct.
But if you're doing mainly smaller jobs from, I don't know, 7,500 to 15 grand, I don't know what.
Average probably 20.
Huh?
Average job, probably, let's just say 20,000.
$20,000 job. So you're used to doing that. But if you take on like a $50,000 or $100,000 job, the scale of dynamics of if something goes wrong, the cost of that thing going wrong and the time of fixing it or redoing it or having to get more, that goes up as well.
Yeah. The biggest thing when you're doing projects like this is knowing your numbers. If a company does not know your numbers, you can really go down south pretty quick.
Just like with anything, with landscaping, because I do these landscape jobs, our average jobs, let's say $2,300. And my favorite jobs to do are 7,500 to 12,500. And then when we're going above 12,500, 15,000, 20,000, that's when I just want to get the fucking thing done and get in and out of there. Because the workload versus the labor that I'm set up to do and the capacity, I don't know. But I do like bigger jobs, just not way too big where there's too many moving parts because the variable turns into a question mark for me. And so you found a sweet spot, and can you break down the sweet spot of like cost of labor and materials and parts and machine and equipment? How's the money made and how do you see it?
The more money you're going to make is basically on the smaller scale jobs. It's not always the bigger jobs. You got to concentrate on those smaller jobs because with the smaller jobs, you always know what you're going to need as far as material wise. If you're tracking your labor on these jobs, you can forecast all that stuff. Okay. Average 8x9 pond, 6x8 pond, 1 day job. And I do those consistently, by tracking everything, what that's going to take. So that's pretty simple. And again, you got to track, you got to know your numbers. But the profit margin, you're actually going to make more money on the smaller jobs than you are the larger scale because you can actually do more of them. And there's less that can go wrong with those smaller scale jobs.
Okay. So when you talk, I feel a little bit of like there might be other guys who do ponds who might completely disagree with you. No. Okay. No. That's good. Okay. I wanted to clarify that because this speak your truth. What works for you and where your business, what you've found, you've probably installed, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of these things.
Yeah. I couldn't even count. This is actually our 25th year in business.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brings me to a question is, do you have different types of like cookie cutter pond packages that you recommend? Or is every single thing like just, can customers take you into oblivion with just weird shit? Like, I want this rock slightly here and I want this and that.
Yeah, they can. I do have the cookie cutter 6x8 all the way to 11x16. Those are our standard jobs. Where it comes into is art. If a customer wants me to really get artistic, using bigger boulders and really taking our time on doing these jobs, it's going to cost a little bit more because you're spending more time on it. So you can say, okay, I'll just take pondless waterfall. Standard 8-foot long stream waterfall, $9,000. 1 day, I'm in and out. If a customer says, okay,
take 1 day.
1 day.
How much? $9,000?
$9,000.
So, but you got the materials, you got everything set up. Have you called the landscape supply like a couple days before and say, make sure you got these boulders?
Yep.
So you've got all your ducks in a row. Now, you've done a whole bunch of setup and pre-framed work, and like you've really have got a lot of energy. So when you actually pull the trigger and you get that thing done in a day, because people listening, like, what? I can make $9,000 in a day. Can you talk about how you've had to get to the point where you can do $9,000 to work in a day?
Oh, yeah. So it's a lot of learning. Like back in the day, I used to order the product the week of, do this, order the boulders the day of, and it doesn't work. And it's learning the systems and putting the systems in place. Like when I get a deposit for a project, I wait maybe 4 to 5 days in case the customer changes their mind. I order that product right then and there. Like after that, like that 5th day, I'm on the phone ordering all the products as far as like your pumps, your liner, waterfall filters, whatever you're using on that product. And I'll have it sitting on the shelf tagged with the customer's name on it. I don't care.
At your shop.
Yeah, at the shop.
You get all that shit ready right then and there, and you bring it all to the job site with you.
Yes.
What are these parts and components and products?
Well, you got I can go on forever, but like Pondless Waterfalls, you got your spillway boxes.
What boxes?
Spillway
box.
Yeah. So the spillway box is actually what's making your waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
What it's doing is it's diverting the water into a solid sheet instead of like somebody will put a hose on top of a rock and then it's just spitting. This actually diverts the water, makes it wider so you can have a wider waterfall. It makes it more uniform. So then you got your piping, your liner, underlayment, aqua blocks, your pump, check valve assembly, all of that.
And
there's a lot of components.
I think it was 2017 or 18. We flew out to California.
Oh, yeah.
With Greg Woodstock and the aquascape team and a bunch of different other guys. And I actually participated in, well, actually I was running around videotaping shit, but I did participate in some. But watching
Got your hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah. And I wish I could have, but my job was to be there in YouTube and stuff. But like I watched them dig out a whole thing in his backyard and install this whole Pondless waterfall. It was a whole waterfall system with the koi fish, and they built a bridge. And then I went back to aquascape and watch these guys and be part of these whole things. And it was mind blowing how watching them actually build it. And I can't wait to come to one of your jobs. I've been asking you for years, bro. I'm going to put you on the spot.
We'll get it done this year.
Yeah, dude, I'm going to come up with the 4K. I'm bringing my best cameras and drone and everything. We're going to have,
let's do it.
I want to really want to make a couple dope ass videos at your job site. And like, you can put it on your channel too. Could do 2 different versions. One of me, and then I'll take me out of it and give you all the B-roll, and then you can talk, and then you can have the rest of it and make your own version of your video because you'll have all the B-roll of your job anyways.
Yep.
Yeah, dog.
Let's do it.
All right. So what are some of the parts and components, and what part of the cost, like the cost of goods sold, does that represent? And then how does the labor part work? And how do you clear, what is that, $4,500 in a day?
Well, again, it all goes back to tracking and knowing your numbers. You got to know what your operational costs are. You got to know what it's costing you to put gas in the trucks, what it's costing your labor, workman's comp, liability. Like all of that stuff is factored in. And I think that's where a lot of contractors kind of mess up a little bit. And the only reason why I know that is because I've done it. Back when I first started.
Oh, shit, me too.
Well, back when I first started, it's like, okay, well, Jeff, you're supposed to do this pond or whatever for $8,000. Okay, well, I'm going to sell it for $8,000. I never knew why, but I was being told that. Well, I was typically a guy that got into business without knowing business. I was a machine builder by trade, and I got into this business just by having a pond in my backyard, and then something sparked. Wow, this is really cool. I was wondering, okay, why do I have green water? Let's put a waterfall on here. How do you do this? And then it just, like I said, interest just sparked in me.
So how did you install your first, you never were a landscaper?
Oh, no. I was a machine builder. I actually built machines that put cars together.
So how long ago? 25 years ago?
25 years
ago.
So
what was your first pond job ever, bro?
Oh, man. It was probably a 6x11 in Grosse Pointe. And I can't remember. Well, no, actually, I'll get back to that one. My first pond was actually my in-laws' pond. They knew I wanted to start this business, and they said, okay, you can put a pond in my backyard. So that was the first pond. Now, the first one I actually ever had to sell, that was the one in Grosse Pointe. And back then, I didn't have pictures. I didn't show anything. I had little stuff that I did. She looked at this chintzy photo album I had. I hate this. I don't like this. I hate this. How can you install this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God, that big when I left her thing. And
yeah,
I was at a car show. I bid it. What I thought is higher. I'll bid it $1,000. She'll never go $1,000 higher than I wanted. She'll never go for it. She went for it. Then the second mistake I made was telling her your waterfall is going to be 2 foot. Her husband actually went out there and measured it. I was 3 inches off. He actually made me dig it up and lift it up that 3 inches. But when I got done with that job and she looked at it, she had nothing to say. And all I did was I looked at her and I was like, you didn't think I could do it, did you? She goes, no, I didn't. And she ended up being one of my best customers I ever had.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're smiling talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
You're fond of it?
Oh, yeah.
Were you anxious at all while putting together, being like a first actual pond?
Oh, yeah. I was nervous. Like, first job, like, the customer hated it. Like, what is she going to say? Like, what if she hates it when I get this thing done?
It was a risk.
Oh, big risk.
But she loved it?
She loved it.
Did you put any fish in it?
Yes. She had 3 big koi, and she was a customer for mine for years.
Wow.
So, and it's just not that. It's all the services we provide afterwards where that money just accumulates in time. You know, because you're doing clean outs, shutdowns.
What is a pond clean out and shut down and start up? How does that all work? And I'll tell you real quick before I'm asking. It's because I have one of my favorite clients. Oh, what's up? My cousin's on here. Iocane powder. Okay, so I'm at my customer's house, and their nickname, we have nicknames for our customers, was Koi Fish Guy. Because they had a beautiful pond with koi fish. And then one day I'm there working, we're doing the spring cleanup, and this truck pulls up and these guys jump out and it says Pondering Waters. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? And these guys are literally sucking the water out of the pond and putting it into this big like membrane, like a miniature pool. They're power washing out the inside of the pond and cleaning it. Mm-hmm. I think they took the fish in a safe spot.
Well, they put it in that bin.
Yep. And then this systematized process of watching them work. And I even got some video footage and put it in my vlog. I should give it to you.
That was a long time ago.
That was you. It was your business. Mm-hmm. Taking care of my client was your client before they were even my client.
Yep.
And I thought it was cool. And I was like, oh my God, you have this whole other side of your business, which is the maintenance of ponds and repairing of and all this. Can you talk about that? How the bread and butter and the highs and lows? And
yeah. So what's cool about water features is there's just not like, I don't want to say like landscapers where you put the brick pavers in or whatever, and that's it. You never see them again unless you're doing like maintenance. With the pond customer, there's always maintenance. You got your monthly maintenance where you're going out and maintaining the pond for them. And then there's also your spring cleanouts, because like right now, they've got to be cleaned in the spring. So we're doing all the cleanings, getting them up and started. And then there's also, the winterization of shutting these ponds down for the winter. So there's always money to be made on just this one customer alone in going on with all of your clients. So it's a revolving, money making business.
So how do you do huge ponds while doing cleanouts? Do you launch another crew or do you squeeze it all in? And how long do customers wait for this? And how much do you charge, like in Michigan, to do like a pond cleanout? Because you say that you got these $9,000 ponds on average. How does that work?
Well, right now, like we're in our season of cleaning. Mm-hmm. We start cleaning in the end of March and we end the end of May. So we have to do all these cleanings within the first 2 months, or else we can't even do construction.
More of the Untrapped podcast right after this.
Jill's office provides friendly, professional receptionists for small business owners just like you. We can help answer your calls, and we can even schedule estimates and jobs for you. Try Jill's office today and get a $25 discount when you say Untrapped. Just go to jillsoffice.com.
The Untrapped podcast continues.
So we got to get everybody up and running because nobody wants to wait until July, August to get their pond up and running. So we have to do all of our cleanings first and then move on to construction.
This presents a problem and an opportunity. If other pond guys are hustling and can't get to all their customers until they could do construction, could you go just all construction and refer all the cleaning to somebody else? Or could you go all cleaning and just never do construction anymore and just do year-round pond cleaning? Or does it not work that way?
No, you can't do that because the cleaning only lasts so long. Mm-hmm. And after that, then there's no more revenue unless you're going to do maintenance. So like with me, I've got so many calls coming in that I can't handle all the cleanouts that are coming in right now. So my basically only competition in this area, we talk to each other all the time. Like we're friends, like even though we're different businesses, we collaborate, talk to each other. Hey, what works for you? What don't work for you? I can't handle the influx of calls coming in. So I'm actually referring, all the pond cleanouts to him right now. He's got the bigger crew and he can handle them. And at least the customer is being taken care of. And that's the most important thing.
How much does a pond cleanout cost?
Okay. The pond cleanout cost, our starting cost is $500 for a small little, let's say 4x6 pond. Mm-hmm. And then it can go up to $3,000
to clean out a big ass pond.
Yeah. Like we just did a 30 by 30, 4 foot deep. And that was around $2,800.
How do you even get the water out of it, and where do you put it?
Well, luckily for that customer, he's got a storm drain literally right next to his pond. So we just take all of our pumps after we get done with our bins, fill in the bins. That way we can put the fish in it. We just pump out the rest of the water. What we try to do is...
And refill it with tap water?
We do.
And do you put like dechlorinator in there and shit?
Yep. And beneficial bacteria to get the water stable again.
How can you guarantee like the temperature? Isn't it freezing coming out?
Well, we acclimate the fish. So what we do is, like the bins that we know that we have the fish in it, we only put maybe a quarter of the water in these bins. Once we get the fish in, then we have another garden hose going in there almost like a trickle. And we just make sure that they're getting acclimated while we're cleaning. That way, as soon as we're done, they're acclimated. We can put them back in. We also have them and you don't want to shock them. Yeah, we actually carry the laser thermometers. What we do is hit the pond water, hit the bucket water in the bin, and make sure they're within at least 3 to 4 degrees of each other. And if they're at least 3 to 4 degrees, we can put them back in the pond. It's a science.
I would be nerve wracked. Okay, so I just have an aquarium in my house with some basic fish, little freshwater fish. And I do a weekly water change of 30%. I don't know if that's right or wrong or good or bad. It's just what I do. And I've done a bunch of research and I found that, and we used a chlorinator. But I have it down to a science of I'm cleaning everything out 3 times and I'm washing my hands all the way up to my elbows and rinsing. So there's no trace of soap or anything. And I alternate what I clean. I always leave the biomedia the same, and then I'll scrub the glass 1 week, but the following week I will go in and vacuum the poop off all the rocks, but leave this. And I change a filter every 3 weeks, but every week or every other week, depending how dirty it is, I change the poly stuff. So I maintain a constant
bioload.
So because I don't want to just clean everything and then now the fish don't have a problem. Then it will have an ammonia spike and nitrates and nitrides and all this shit. And so I was so nervous that because me feeling the water, I think I know, but depending on the temperature outside or what I'm exposed to before and the temperature. So I always use a thermometer and I know when I'm exactly there. So I have to trust science and gauges and trust measurements beyond my feelings or what I'm going through. And I can't talk on the phone. I can't listen to my motivational books. I just make sure I'm fully focused on the fish because I don't want a fish to die. So have you ever had a fish die?
Yeah. There's been those times. That's where fish
you
liability.
Go to the customer and say, I'm so sorry your fish died during this water change.
Yeah. I'm trying to think the last time that ever happened. The last time it happened was like years and years ago. Don't know what happened. I was still new to the industry. Now that I know what I know now, and we've got all the processes in place, that really doesn't happen. But like the one customer I was telling you that we just did this big clean out for, he literally has $20,000 in koi in his pond. So we really need to make sure that everything is right there.
So when you hire knuckleheads, sorry, you can't have knuckleheads.
No, we try to get everybody hired, before the springtime. That way we can get them trained. That's like the good thing with aquascape. They've got online training. So part of their criteria is to do online training in order to work for me, so it's really convenient for aquascape to have training like that.
Dude, I got to come with you and just shadow you for a day and camera on your face the whole time. Dude, GoPro on your head.
You got to come with me even out of state to do all that. Cause
where are you going next, bro?
I don't know. There's a little hint of Hawaii soon from one of my buddies that just hinted, but I go to California a lot with one of my other buddies. He's just another really great guy, Carl from Columbia Water Gardens. He's another one of my good buddies that we always collaborate with. There's tons of them, but those are like main 2 people that we always do work with.
What's the first step and the first pieces of equipment you would need if someone who wants to say, I want to dive in and try this or dip my toe in and try it? Like, what's the first step?
What I would say is the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't go into this industry thinking, okay, I'm going to get a dump trailer. I'm going to go buy an excavator. I'm going to go buy. I started out with my pickup truck, wheelbarrow, shovels, all that. As long as you have that, you can get a business started, doing water features.
Bro, you got me excited. I want to literally do a pond in my backyard now. But wait a second. What about when you travel and you're gone for a week? Who takes care and feeds the fish?
You don't have to.
They just fast for a week, or
no? They eat whatever's they eat the little algae that grows. They eat little bugs. The koi and the goldfish will actually pick up some of the gravel on the bottom. They'll chew it and then they'll spit it back out. So I have a lot of customers that say,
but you do feed them like
maybe once every 2 weeks.
What do you feed them?
koi food.
Once every 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. So you got to think of it this way, just like your aquarium. All right. It's a biological system.
Yeah, I feed my fish flakes every day. I do one dose, whatever doesn't float to the bottom, then I feed them again, so I'm not overfeeding, so it doesn't go
You're probably still overfeeding.
No, we've watched entire videos on this, and
with a pond, though.
Yeah.
The more you feed these koi, because they're carp, they're dirty fish.
Yeah.
The more you feed, the more they're going to poop. That poop, it actually turns into all the waste and all that kind of stuff.
How much maintenance is it? How much does it take if somebody wants to get into this, but also from the customer end? What should they be telling their customers? Like, yeah, beware what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing with me is I'm an honest salesperson. I won't sell to a customer just to get that sale. When there's a pond sale, I tell them, look, there's going to be maintenance. There's nothing out there maintenance free except for almost like a pondless waterfall. You got to tell them, look, a pond's not maintenance free. You got to maintain it. There's filters to clean. You got to make sure your pump's not clogged up. You got to watch your fish to make sure that there's nothing going on with there's stuff there. It's that grilled, dude, set it and forget it.
This last year was the first year I did not take my pump out of the pond, and I just left that fucker in there all winter.
You should be fine. That's fine.
Okay, but normally, just like you told me, I would take it out and I would put it in a bucket of water and put it in my basement and make sure that the dozer is getting the certain chemicals for it so it doesn't calcify all over the pump or something that keeps the water clean. And I get so busy that I got to choose. Am I got to clean out my own gutter so my basement doesn't flood and do this pond or not do my books for the week? Or, I got a bookkeeper, but so this is a podcast where we're supposed to be talking about landscapers who might want to get into ponds. And I'm thinking about getting a pond myself. I'm going down this damn path.
I'm a good salesman. Yeah.
But shouldn't you? Well, yeah, you are, because I'm really thinking about it. And I saw the pond at your house. It's freaking epic. For those of you guys listening right now, Untrapped Podcast YouTube channel. If you want to see the episode of Jeff Michaels, and I'm going to do more videos with him, Pondering Waters, I have an entire playlist on my YouTube channel. Go to playlists and look up like ponds and water features. It's a playlist, and there's probably like 20 videos in there. And then there's also a video with Jeff, his pond in his backyard and all this stuff. Go watch that. Watch a couple of those videos if you want to dive in and you can visually see it and then learn. I'm going down this path because if you're going to get into selling ponds to customers, you might want to take a taste of your own medicine and do it yourself first, right?
Correct. You
Talk about that.
Yeah. So, it's like you got to have something and experiment with it. You got to know what you're talking about. You can take all the classes you want, but what happens if you experience something at your own pond that you haven't experienced because basically you're doing it through books, you're doing it through videos, but sometimes something might come up that you don't know about and you need to know how to handle it. So that's where having your own pond actually comes into play, because like my own personal pond, it's changed so many times because I'm experimenting on my own pond, because I'm going to experiment on my own pond before a customer's pond. There's been multiple filtration systems and techniques and waterfalls and wetland filters that I've done to my pond. Like my pond's probably changed since even you've been in there. So yeah, if you're going to be a gardener and be a landscaper, you're probably going to do it at your own house before you do it at a customer's, because you might put something somewhere that doesn't have enough sunlight and it might die because it doesn't have enough sunlight. Same thing with a pond.
Is ponds like your whole life?
More of the Untrapped podcast right after this. Looking to maximize your production in the field? Ballard Products has over 300 products that can help you get the most out of your efforts every day. Ballard Products. Whether you are looking to get a better cut, keep your gear on your machine, keep your expensive equipment clean and safe, or just get the most out of your machines, Ballard has you covered. Ballard Products. Jump onto our easy-to-use updated website at ballard-inc.com to get your gear ordered today. Keep grinding. Stay safe. And have a great season. Ballard. Make sure to use the code Keith10 to save 10% on our full line of gear. That's Keith10. This is Untrapped with Keith Kalfas.
I don't want to say it's my whole life besides my family, but yeah, it's a passion. When you're passionate about something, you get excited about it and you want to do more.
So what's the dopest thing you've ever done when it comes to ponds?
Oh, it had to be when I was traveling. Like the biggest thing I've ever done is me and my buddy took a road trip from here all the way to California in a 1989 or something like that RV, and drove all the way to California to build with my buddy Carl. And we're talking, it was like a 60 by 80, 60 by 100 pond, 300 feet of stream. Just the whole yard was just epic. And I'd say that's the most enjoyable job I've been on. And then obviously the zoo job. But right now for me, it's traveling. I love traveling.
That's badass.
Because it's not only when you travel, just because I've been in the industry for 25 years, doesn't mean I know everything, because I don't. You gain so much knowledge learning from other contractors. It isn't funny. Like my buddy Carl, when I was on that project of his that I was just talking about, I'm like, okay, well, he's building his wetland deeper than we normally do it. Like, why is he doing that? And I'm thinking he's doing it wrong because I wasn't asking the questions. When I finally asked him, he goes, well, we'd make it deeper because the deeper you go, the cooler the water gets, because they're in the desert. It was in Palm Springs. So you got fish in this pond. You want to keep the pond a little bit cooler, or else they're going to be basically in a hot tub. And I'm like, there you go. So you're constantly learning. And that's what's great about working with other contractors is
how deep was it compared to what?
I would have to say typically you're at anywhere between like around 4 foot. He was maybe, I think, at 6. So he was only 2 foot, but that 2 foot makes a difference. So there's just so much knowledge you can gain from other people in different areas of the United States that helps you.
Wow. It's the difference between the fish dying.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Bro.
I know, mind blowing. This is such a cool job. I mean, it's just, there's so many opportunities because I even do indoor. I do the water walls and I do.
Yeah, I've seen it. Was it a restaurant or something? You did some big water wall. You post that shit on Facebook. It was sweet.
And then I just
did the wall was like brick or granite. And then you built this cascading glass freaking thing that when all the customers look at it, they're like, whoa.
Yep. Our latest one that we did was Eternal Tattoo in East Point. We did actually an indoor pond in there.
Eternal Tattoo.
Yeah, Eternal Tattoo.
That's where I have the tattoo. I have praying hands on my right shoulder. Eternal Tattoo.
Over there in East Point and in Gratiot.
Wait.
There's a few different locations.
Oh, okay. This one was at 8.5 in Van Dyke.
Okay, yeah. This one's in East Point on Gratiot.
Okay.
And what's cool is you walk in, you're greeted by this cool pond. But what's different is it actually has a viewing window. So you're looking at the side of it and you just see fish swimming in and out of it. It's pretty cool.
Whoa. And it's a viewing window and there's fish?
Yeah.
Wow. I got to look this up on Google, man. So how can
it's on my YouTube channel.
I got to say, at Pondering Waters on YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. What's the name of the video?
I think it's Eternal Tattoo.
Eternal Tattoo.
Yep.
Okay. So how can everybody find you again? I know you just said the YouTube, but
yeah, we're on YouTube, Instagram, obviously Facebook, and TikTok.
All Pondering Waters.
Except for TikTok. I was kind of given the name of the Pond Otter for TikTok.
The Pond Otter.
The Pond Otter. Yep.
I love it, man.
Different.
I felt like I just started coming to a close because I got so much good stuff. And we are just now, you can just hear us on the Untrapped podcast or you can see us talking, but the next step is really to show it and see it. So I want you guys to go check this stuff out. Anything else you want to talk about, bro?
No, I think I'm good right now. Oh, the other one thing is that I don't know if there is anybody seriously about getting into this, being that we have this huge influx of work, we actually are hiring. So we're doing some massive hiring right now. That way we can take care of all this work for our customers.
I love it. So anywhere in the country or Michigan or?
Just here in Michigan.
What do you look for when you're hiring somebody? What are some of the most important qualities?
Attitude. Attitude's got to be number one. I mean, you got to be a team player because you get that one bad seed, it can destroy a company. What I would say is what we're doing right now isn't glamorous with the pond cleanouts, but it's all the jobs that come in after that. You're building this artistic work of art, basically, and you're doing really cool stuff. It's a really good
So when you're
career.
in the heat of things in the middle of July and August, you guys are up to your necks and working on a big project. Having a good attitude is extremely important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't want somebody coming on our job site saying, "Oh God, this sucks." Oh, what time we coming home? What time we going home? When are we leaving? Or I don't want to do this. It's like, no, it's got to be a team atmosphere. Got to be a team atmosphere.
Love it. I love it, dog. All right, yeah, this is Jeff Michaels, Pondering Waters on YouTube, bro. Thanks so much for being on my show, the Untrapped Podcast. If you love the show, Apple, Spotify, please leave a well-worded, positive 5-star review. Boost the show's ratings. And we're doing shows now Mondays and Thursdays. I know we've been doing every Monday forever, for years now. And I'm experimenting with 2 shows a week, Monday, Thursday. I think I'm going to go with Monday, Thursday. And then if you're on our email list, go to keithkelfas.com. We put out a podcast newsletter, and when there's a new podcast out with the show notes, and I want to hear back from you. I want to hear your response. Hit me up on Instagram at Keith Kelfis. Hit me up on Facebook and let me know that you're listening to the show, and I want to hear some feedback, and I'll see you in the next show. Later, guys.
Thank you.